The situation. Our political correspondent Robin Brandt reports.
If nothing else, David Cameron has spent today making it clear that he is very much in charge. With the police in Calais struggling to contain migrants, and on this side in Kent, the ongoing traffic chaos, the Prime Minister senses all the ingredients for a summer domestic crisis. So he's announced the UK is sending more sniffer dogs to France, and the offer to pay for and build a 10-mile-long security fence around the Channel Tunnel terminal has been accepted. The BBC's been told it should be completed by Friday. In a phone conversation tonight with the French President François Hollande, Downing Street said both men expressed concern about the immediate security challenges. But the Prime Minister has faced a torrent of criticism, with some claiming he's escalated his actions too late. The Road Haulage Association accused him of offering a sticking plaster for the problem.
The lawyer representing the family of the Russian spy Alexander Litvinenko has accused President Putin of personally ordering his murder. He made the statement during the final day of the public section of the inquiry into Mr. Litvinenko's death. He died in 2006 after drinking tea laced with the radioactive substance polonium-210 at a hotel in London. Our correspondent Richard Galpin was at the hearing in London.
In his concluding statement, Ben Emerson QC sought to convince the inquiry chairman that the scientific evidence left no doubt that the two chief suspects, Andrei Lugovoy and Dmitry Kovtun, had given Mr. Litvinenko the fatal dose of radioactive polonium. He went on to say the evidence also proved the Russian state must have commissioned the murder, as the rare, highly controlled substance had been brought to Britain from Moscow. And if the poisoning was commissioned by the Russian state, then he said it followed that President Putin was responsible. In Moscow, the president's spokesman has dismissed the accusations of Russian state involvement in Mr. Litvinenko's murder.
A private plane has crashed at Blackbush Airport near Farnborough in Hampshire, killing all 4 people on board. The executive jet nosedived into a car auction centre and burst into flames. It's thought the aircraft had flown from Italy and was trying to land. The Home Secretary, Theresa May, has granted a 6-month visa to the dissident Chinese artist Ai Weiwei. She reversed an earlier decision by the Home Office to reject his application because he hadn't declared a criminal conviction. Officials have apologised to Mr. Ai for causing inconvenience. The Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, has visited the hospital treating members of a family who were severely burned in a petrol bomb attack on their West Bank home. A sleeping toddler was killed. Jewish settlers have been blamed because the Hebrew word for revenge was scrawled near their house. The Palestinian president, Mahmoud Abbas, said it was a war crime that should be investigated by the International Criminal Court. Mr. Netanyahu expressed his anger at the attack.
When you stand next to the dead of this small child and his infant brother had been so brutally murdered, they're shocked, they're outraged. They condemn this. There's zero tolerance for terrorism, wherever it comes from.
Engine operating temperature has been reached.
They have to fight it and fight it together.
Zimbabwe says it will seek to extradite the US dentist who killed Cecil the Lion, describing him as a foreign poacher. Walter Palmer, who's from Minnesota, is believed to have paid around £35,000 to hunt him, though he insists he didn't know he was doing anything illegal. There's been a huge backlash over the Lion's death. More than 100,000 people have signed a petition calling for Mr. Palmer's extradition. He's also temporarily closed his dental practice. Cricket. England have beaten Australia by 8 wickets to win the 3rd Ashes Test at Edgbaston and take a 2-1 lead in the 5-match series. The home side comfortably reached the winning target of 121 runs with 2 days to spare. The England captain, Alistair Cook, singled out Stephen Finn. Last bowler took 6 for 79 and the Man of the Match award in his first test in more than 2 years. Cook also praised the whole team.
Guys up there, full credit to them, the way they played. Everyone stood up and played and been counted, and yeah, it's a great feeling. It's a really good feeling. Now we've got to do it again.
The Australian captain, Michael Clark, admitted the visitors had to lift their game.
It's as simple as we've got to make more runs as a batting unit, and we've obviously got to execute better with the ball. I don't think we're as good as we should have been in that first innings. On a wicket, it certainly did a bit. We need to make sure our preparation is spot on. We've got, 2 grand finals in front of us. I look forward to that challenge.
Beijing has been chosen to host the Winter Olympics in 2022, beating the Kazakh capital Almaty by just 4 votes. It will be the first city to host both the Summer and the Winter Games. The American country singer Lynn Anderson has died at the age of 67. The publicist said she died from cardiac arrest at a hospital in Nashville. She'll be remembered for her early 1970s hit, "I Never Promised You a Rose Garden."
Jim Lee. It was a global health emergency. In Britain, Spain, the United States and elsewhere there were fears of a major epidemic. And all because of a virus sweeping through a continent that was highly contagious and appeared to threaten us all. In the end, it was the people of 3 West African states who bore the brunt of Ebola, while the world dithered about how to respond. And thousands died.
The Ebola outbreak has so far affected 4 countries in West Africa: Guinea, Sierra Leone, Liberia. Our training is hands-on. You want to touch the patient, you want to feel the patient, you want to be close by the patient. Now we cannot do that.
Well, at least 4 bodies, probably more, piled on the back of that truck. They're being driven around over these bumpy roads, jostling against each other.
The reality is that this epidemic is going to get worse before it gets better, but right now, the world has the responsibility to act, to step up, and to do more.
We were told it would take years for a vaccine, but today we heard that a vaccine has been found, and it seems to work. One doctor who has been coordinating the trial of the drug is Yak Boom from the charity Médecins Sans Frontières. He's treating Ebola patients in one of those West African countries affected.
When we find a person having Ebola, then we start doing the tracing to have all the contact, the people who are in contact with that person. We send a team of communicators to talk about the trial, to ask whether they will be willing, and then those who are willing, they have the consent to know what the trial is, what the vaccine is, what will be the risk, and then those who accept receive the vaccine and were followed. That's how we managed to find that some of the people who were vaccinated 3 weeks later, 16 actually, got the Ebola disease, while those who were vaccinated immediately, none of the 2,000 or more have got the disease.
And in that way, you kind of ring-fenced the disease from other healthy members of the population.
Exactly. Because when you get the contact with the contact, then you can manage to cut the transmission chain.
Were you surprised at the results, the fact that this worked?
Not really, because before we reached the actual phase now, it has been tested in animals, showing some good results. So we were really hoping that it would work, and so therefore it did.
And how did you feel when it did work?
Amazed, excited. I mean, it's a great achievement. But on the other hand, the outbreak has not ended yet. So we are now saying that we have the tool, we have the weapon, and we need to stop it.
So you do believe, you do hope that you now have a tool, as you put it, that will allow you to stop the disease in its tracks?
That's what we believe, definitely.
And that must make you, on a personal level, feel extremely relieved, because you and your colleagues who you are working with have also been at risk.
Definitely, and I think more than we believe. Now we have people, since the news is out, are calling you to thank you for enrolling them in the trial, because now they know that it's efficient. So as a human being, you feel really happy, and as an African, I'm really proud to make that happen in a country where there have never been such a research trial. So we're really coming from far.
It struck some people as surprising that this drug has been developed so quickly, bearing in mind that some people felt it might be many years before an effective vaccine could be produced. What does that tell you about the ability of the world to develop a vaccine for what is essentially a disease that really impacts Africa in a big way? If there hadn't been the publicity of Ebola, do you think you would have had this vaccine developed so quickly?
I don't think so. I really think that people put a lot of effort and determination. some of them, quite a number of them, because they fear when the Ebola went to UK, to France, to US and so on. Really, everyone